Happy Easter. Today is Easter, so we are, having a little Easter dinner by ourselves in lockdown.
Boo-hoo.
So we are going to make an apple pie for dessert. Sorry about my hair. I really need a haircut. Paul offered to give me a haircut, and that was a big no. So we're going to do the best we can. So let me talk about the ingredients that you need for an apple pie. And I'm making an apple crumble pie because I like the cinnamon topping. I just like it better than a double crust pie. So for this recipe, you're going to need 1 crust. And you can make your own crust. This is a Pillsbury crust. I am not making my own crust because I have too many papers to grade right now. That'll be another day. So you need a crust, 1 for a crumble pie. And you're gonna need about 6 apples. I like to mix my apples together. These are DELISH apples and Granny apples. I don't know if we'll use 6, but I usually get 6. Depends on how deep your pie is and what you've got to work with. You're going to need a little bit of salt, light brown sugar, flour, granulated sugar, cinnamon, which is the best thing ever invented, a lemon, stick and a half of butter, and we're going to melt the half stick in a little while. A pie plate, of course, and 2 bowls, 1 for the topping and 1 for the apples. You also need a paring knife to peel your apples unless you have a fancy peeler. There are 2 knives everybody who cooks should have. One is a good chef's knife to chop things, and the other is a paring knife where you can do all of your close work. Some measuring cups and some measuring spoons, and this is all we're going to need for an apple pie. So I'm going to first roll out the crust and get the pie plate prepped and preheat my oven. And then we'll work on the topping and the apples. Okay, so we'll be right back.
Go.
So the first thing we're gonna do is roll out our pie crust, and I'm preheating the oven to 400 degrees. So to roll out your pie crust, you need to put some flour on your rolling surface. And then, this is really not very impressive cooking, however, hard times. And then a little more flour on the top. Then you need a rolling pin. Mine is old and janky, but it still works. So you're also going to put some flour around your rolling pin. And then you're gonna roll out your pie dough, which is super easy. And you wanna roll it thin so that it fits into your pie pan. I'm making and using a deep dish pie pan because you get more stuff in it. So here's my pie pan, and I've sprayed it with Pam, and then I'm just gonna plop the crust in there. And then I'm just gonna crimp the sides. So it looks like a pie. It's stormy here in Nashville today. It's kind of a blasey Easter, but still. We're gonna make it good, right, Paul?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Happy Easter.
Okay, so there's my pie crust. Then you're gonna take your paring knife and just slide it along the edges to get rid of that extra dough. Whoops. This pie is so good. Okay, so your pie crust is ready. And now I'm going to put my pie crust on a big baking sheet. Because when you make apple pie, kind of any pie, but especially apple pie, your apple mixture can bubble up. And if you don't want a little fire, or at least a super smoky kitchen, you put it on a baking sheet so that that can catch the overflow. All right, so then we're gonna get our big bowl and we're gonna start peeling and slicing our apples. And I'm just gonna do one because what could be more boring than watching, well, I can think of things, but still. I'm so happy that so many of you are sending me pictures of your cooking and watching Cooking with Sue. And Peaches, I'm thinking about you today and your chicken casserole. Okay, once you slice your apple, peel your apple, I mean, then make sure you get that core off of there and the core in the middle. Then you're just gonna start slicing your apples into this bowl. And I am going to do 5 or 6. I'll tell you how many I end up using. But this is how you start making your filling. So I'll come back when I'm ready to put stuff in the filling. So I've laid out the ingredients for the filling. I only used 5 apples because see how that already fills the bowl practically? And you know, I'm eyeballing it, but you can use as many, I had big apples, you can use as many as it takes to sort of fill your crust. After I slice the apples, to make the filling, you're gonna need 4 tablespoons of butter melted, about a tablespoon of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of flour, what's this? A third of a cup of granulated sugar, a fourth of a cup of light brown sugar packed in, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then it calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, but I'm just gonna pinch it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put my lemon juice on these apples because lemon juice keeps the apples from turning brown. So I'm just gonna mix that up. And then I'm gonna add the rest of these ingredients. The butter, 4 tablespoons, half a stick of butter, 2 tablespoons again of the flour, granulated sugar, packed brown sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, you can never have enough cinnamon, I think. What about you, Paul?
Well, I'm all about cinnamon.
And then a pinch of salt. Now, you're gonna mix all of this together. Anwar, my sweet student from Reading and Writing for English Studies, I want you to make a pie she's at home with all of her brothers, and that's a lot. So you're gonna mix the filling together. And I usually let this sit for a minute or two so that the apples start to juice. And then all you're gonna do is transfer your, can you see me, hon? Mm-hmm. Transfer your apples to your crust. Look at that. Practically done. And if you have any leftover juices in your bowl, pour those over. So see how this really fits the crust? Now, if I were making a double crust pie, I might put that last apple in, and because you're gonna have a crust over. But we're doing crumble, so we just want the crumble to be packed around the edges. So once you have your pie shell filled, we're gonna make the crumble for the topping before it goes into the oven. So we're gonna do that, and I'll get that ready for the second bowl, and then we'll be right back. Okay.
Go.
Okay, y'all, now I'm ready to make the crumble topping. And for the crumble topping, you're gonna need a cup of flour, a third of a cup of brown sugar, a fourth of a teaspoon of cinnamon, a fourth of a teaspoon of salt, and then you need a stick of cold butter. And it needs to be cold because you're going to slice it into this crumble mixture, and then you're gonna use your hands to literally crumble all of this together. And then it's super easy from there. Here is one hilarious outcome of Cooking with Sue. People have started sending me requests. So we're gonna see if we can fulfill some of those. And again, if anybody wants to make a video, or if there is a professor that you're hankering to see, send me an email and I will do my best. Carilla is working on one. Dr. Lavorne is working on one. Dr. Pinter is working on one. So literally, y'all, then you crumble this all together, and you want to smash up that butter so that it all ends up looking like a crumbly mess. And it doesn't take too long, it's just a minute or so. Okay, so you want to crumble all of the butter into the mixture so that everything is incorporated. And this is going to taste really good. You want to pause, hon? Nobody wants to watch this.
Ready.
So this is what your crumble is going to look like. It took me maybe 5 minutes to do this. And now you're going to take your crumble and you're going to start spreading it onto your pie filling. And take it all the way to the edges, pat it a little bit. And that is going to be an apple crumble pie. Now I'm going to put this in the oven at 400 for 30 minutes. And then I'm going to reduce the temperature to 350 for another 50 minutes. So when the time is up, this is going to be a beautiful bake. And we'll come back and show you what it looks like at the end. All right, y'all, be back. Hey, friends. So here's the trout Easter dinner, a little turkey, a little dressing, some mashed potatoes, and here's the bake. That is your apple crumble pie. It looks yummy, so I hope you enjoy it, and we'll try to fulfill all of your requests. I miss you all. Love you. Bye.